Welcome back to In Need of a Refill, where God's Word and the coffee are never in short supply. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss anything that's coming up on In Need of a Refill. If you have a comment or a question or a passage you'd like me to look at, leave in the section below. We'll get to it just as fast as we can. As we've said before, old habits, well, they die hard. You know, it's hard to kick bad habits. It's hard to start good habits. You know, at least for me it is. If you look at, let's say, New Year's resolutions, a lot of people make a resolution to get back into the gym. And, you know, us gym rats look at them as they come in, and many of us are hoping for the best for them. You know, we're hoping that they stick around, that they grow to love to do the things that we love to do, you know, hitting the weights and feeling better, you know, kind of thing. But that lasts about 2 weeks. And then you start seeing them drop off and you don't see them again. It's like, yeah, you know, because the habit has not been formed. Well, the same is true about serving God. Whether we're talking about back in the time of the Judges, the time of the United Kingdom, the time of the divided kingdom, or if we're talking about us today. What we're going to look at today is another judge. We're going to look at Deborah and Jael, and a little bit at Barak, the general that led the army. So as we get started, let's go ahead and read Judges 4, verses 1 through 3. Then the sons of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord after Ehud died. And the Lord sold them into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, who reigned in Hazor. And the commander of his army was Sisera, who lived in Harosheth Hagoyim. The sons of Israel cried to the Lord, for he had 900 iron chariots, and he oppressed the sons of Israel severely for 20 years. Almost sounds like a broken record, right? I mean, we looked at Ehud, and it opened pretty much the same way, you know, but in this case, after Ehud dies, Israel again has done evil in the sight of the Lord. And, you know, he wants them back. Yahweh wants them to do right. He wants them to turn to him and do what they said that they were going to do when they agreed to the covenant. Unfortunately, they decided that serving the gods of foreign nations was the way to go. And I mean, it wasn't a complete I'm not going to serve Yahweh thing. It was a symbiosis, or a, shall we say, a combination platter in a sense. You know, let me take what they are offering over here with this particular pagan god, and I'll combine it with the Yahweh worship kind of thing, and I'll make everybody happy, you know. Well, as we saw with Ehud, and as we'll see in this one, and the ones that come after it, doesn't work that way. Yahweh defines himself as a jealous God. And in this case, like in the last case, like in the next case that we're going to look at as well, he uses a pagan nation to punish his people. This time, it's one of the Canaanite nations. And, well, 20 years. 20 years they oppressed Israel severely. The people finally cry out for help. And, well, We don't know, again, if they cried out sooner than that or if it was actually 20 years and then finally they're like, oh, wait. Either way we go, whether it was crying out before and not being listened to and then crying out at 20 years and then being listened to and delivered. Either way, God was about to take action because God never stopped loving them. Let's go ahead and continue reading and see what happens here. This is Judges 4, verses 4 through 10. Now Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, was judging Israel at that time. She used to sit under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim. And the sons of Israel came to her for judgment. Now she sent and summoned Barak, the son of Abinoam, from Kadesh Naphtali, and said to him, Behold, the Lord, the God of Israel, has commanded, Go and march to Mount Tabor, and take with you 10,000 men from the sons of Naphtali, and from the sons of Zebulun. I will draw out to you Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his many troops to the river Kishon, and I will give him into your hand. Then Barak said to her, If you will go with me, then I will go. But if you will not go with me, I will not go. She said, I will surely go with you. Nevertheless, the honor shall not be yours on the journey that you are about to take, for the Lord will sell Sisera into the hands of a woman. Then Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali together to Kadesh, and 10,000 men went up with him. Deborah also went with him. Yahweh was already using Deborah as a judge when he decides to call Barak to lead the army. So, it may be that Deborah was judging legal cases like the people that were appointed by Moses in the desert to help him make decisions per Jethro. But it may have already been, something military like the what was about to go down with the Canaanite nation. We don't know, but we do know that she was already judging Israel. They used to go to her for decisions and things. But Yahweh tells Barak, basically, I will give him into your hand. I'll just hand him to you. You'll get the glory. You'll get the honor. You're going to lead my army. Notice what Barak says. If you will go with me, then I will go. But if you will not go with me, I will not go. Now, this sounds a little strange because, well, Deborah has already relayed this message from Yahweh that Yahweh was going to deliver Sisera into Barak's hand. And now Barak is saying, can you go with me, please? Well, in the Old Testament, only certain people were given God's Spirit. Barak only agrees to go if Deborah goes. So, it may be that he wants to ensure that Yahweh is going to go with them in this battle. Think about 1 Samuel 3. The dwelling place of the Lord was the Ark of the Covenant, or at least so the Israelites believed. So they took the Ark in front, right? It's the same type of situation. God is with Deborah. So if Deborah goes, then God will go, kind of thing. Notice what Deborah says. I will surely go with you. Nevertheless, the honor shall not be yours on the journey that you are about to take. For the Lord will sell Sisera into the hands of a woman. Into the hands of a woman? they're not in the military at this point. You know, I mean, okay, this is not expected, but Barak doesn't seem to mind. He doesn't seem to object. In fact, he's like, okay, let's do this. You know, but either way you go, Yahweh was going, at least perhaps, to give Barak the glory for the victory, or at least the honor for the victory over Sisera. But now, he's not. Now, Barak seems to become kind of a supporting cast, so to speak. Let's go ahead and read and see what happens. Verses 11 through 20. Now Heber the Kenite had separated himself from the Kenites, from the sons of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moses, and had pitched his tent as far away as the oak of Zaanim, which is near Kadesh. Then they told Sisera that Barak, the son of Abinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor. Sisera called together all his chariots, 900 iron chariots, and all the people who were with him, from Harosheth Hagoyim to the river Kishon. Deborah said to Barak, "Arise, for this is the day in which the Lord has given Sisera into your hands. Behold, the Lord has gone out before you." So Barak went down from Mount Tabor with 10,000 men following him. The Lord routed Sisera and all his chariots and all his army with the edge of the sword before Barak. And Sisera alighted from his chariot and fled away on foot. But Barak pursued the chariots and the army as far as Harosheth Hagoyim. And all the army of Sisera fell by the edge of the sword. Not even one was left. Now Sisera fled away on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, for there was peace between Jabin, the king of Hazor, and the house of Heber the Kenite. Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, "Turn aside, my master. Turn aside to me. Do not be afraid." And he turned aside to her into the tent, and she covered him with a rug. He said to her, "Please give me a little water to drink, for I am thirsty." So she opened a bottle of milk and gave him a drink. Then she covered him. He said to her, "Stand in the doorway of the tent, and it shall be if anyone comes and inquires of you and says, 'Is there anyone here?' you shall say, 'No.'" Okay, so Sisera's, kind of pounding his chest. He thinks this is going to be an easy victory. I mean, he's got the tactical advantage. He's got the better weapons. He's got the chariots. Israel doesn't. So he goes out to meet Barak. Now notice, Barak is not afraid to go into battle. When he's told to attack, he does. He's not thinking, hang on, can we wait just a little? No, he's like, all right, let's do this. So Yahweh shows his faithfulness. He shows his power because he delivers this bigger, better equipped army into the hands of Israel. He routs them. Well, at this point, Sisera, he escapes. He's thinking, man, I'm free and clear. I got out of this battle. I'm safe. We can live to fight another day, kind of thing. But especially when he finds Heber the Kenite's wife and decides to hide in her tent. Now, these Kenites, in case you haven't looked at it, I know I hadn't until I was preparing for this. They are a tribe of nomads named in association with various other peoples. First mentioned with the Cadmonites and the Kenizzites among the peoples whose land was promised to Abram. Okay, so they're basically nomads. Well, Heber has separated himself even from the group, and he apparently has a good relationship with Jabin. So let's see what goes down. Verses 21 and 22. But Jael, Heber's wife, took a tent peg and seized a hammer in her hand and went secretly to him and drove the peg into his temple, and it went through into the ground. For he was sound asleep and exhausted, so he died. And behold, as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out to meet him and said to him, Come, and I will show you the man whom you're seeking. And he entered with her, and behold, Sisera was lying dead with the tent peg in his temple. We are not told why Jael does this. We don't know if there's some sort of dissension between Sisera, Jabin, and Heber's family. We don't know if it was just a murder of opportunity, let's say. It doesn't really matter. Although, I mean, curious minds would love to know, right? But instead of providing a safe haven, which Sisera thought, man, I'm good now, Jael provides victory, but not for the Canaanite army. She provides victory for Israel because she takes out the commander. Remember what Barak was told in chapter 4, verse 10? I will surely go with you. Nevertheless, the honor shall not be yours on the journey that you are about to take. For the Lord will sell Sisera into the hands of a woman. Maybe Barak thought that meant that Deborah was going to get the honor, the glory. My guess is he had no idea what YaHWeH's actual plan was and who was going to deliver the final death blow here. But either way you go, people remember Deborah. People mostly remember Jael, especially if you mention the one that killed someone with a tent peg in Judges. And they're like, wait a minute, yeah, I know that story. People very rarely remember Barak, although he is mentioned in Hebrews 11. The glory went to a woman, and potentially not the woman that Barak thought the glory was going to go to. So let's see what happens here as we get ready to close. This is verses 23 and 24. So God subdued on that day Jabin, the king of Canaan, before the sons of Israel. The hand of the sons of Israel pressed heavier and heavier upon Jabin, the king of Canaan, until they had destroyed Jabin, the king of Canaan. God took care of it. God took care of it. His people suffered originally for 20 years because they left him. And yet, look who wins. Look who delivers. It was the God that they had ignored, the Almighty. As we get ready to close today, I have a few questions for us to consider and hopefully help us to improve our walk with God. Do we trust God to fight our battles for us? I mean, honestly, think about that for a minute. Do we live life like, I got this, and if I need help, well, I'll call on God for his help, but I got this? Or do we trust him to be the one leading us day in, day out, big battle, small battle? Do we trust him to be the one who delivers us? Do we go where he sends when he puts opportunities in front of us? Sometimes those opportunities are head scratchers why are you sending me here? Why are you using me for this? I'm not the one you want. It's the other guy. He's better equipped for this. As we've said before, and we'll say again, God's not looking for competent people. He's looking for willing people. Be willing. He will make you competent. Be willing. He will do things in your life for His purposes that you will wonder how on earth He did that through you. Because He is that amazing. Do we realize that God can use unexpected people to accomplish His will? He has, He does, and He will. Don't discount someone just because of the way they look, the way they sound. If God is going to use them, He knows what He's doing. And He can use them in ways that we look at, we wonder what on earth just happened. And it's amazing to watch, and it's amazing to be a part of. Let Him use you. Don't discount it just because something's not necessarily in your wheelhouse. Thank you for our time together today. Have a blessed week. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss anything that's coming up on In Need of a Refill. And remember, if you're ever in need of a refill on God's Word, all we have to do is take it off our shelves and spend some time with Him. We won't regret it. Have a blessed week.